Hi guys, so I just thought I would show you my breakfast that I'm making for tomorrow. So I'm going to film what I eat in the day, but I'm prepping my breakfast now because I'm doing sort of like an overnight type oats, and I have a little tip that I thought I'd show you. So I don't actually like overnight oats, but I do like the grape nuts instead. So if you use them, it's sort of like an overnight sort of type cheese, because these when they are sort of soft, go like the base of a cheesecake when they're all together. So I call it like my overnight cheesecake, but obviously like healthier. You'll have 40 grams of these for a healthy extra B, and they go quite far. But what I do when I have this jar of spread here, and as you can see there's like nothing left in there. There's like a tiny little bit in the corner, so there's probably like 2 sins worth of spread in there, and so when I have a jar that has like that much spread left in it, I make like an overnight oats or my overnight cheesecake and make it in the mix, in the jar, because then it kind of has the flavors of that spread without having to like add loads of sins. So what I do is like layer it up with some strawberries, some frozen blueberries, one of these yogurts and 40 grams of the grape nuts. So I just like layer it up and then leave it in the fridge overnight, and then it's just ready to eat in the morning. And it's actually like one of my favorite breakfasts to have, but I only do it every now and then, like when I have an empty jar. So yeah, if you have any empty jars laying around, rather than washing them out or throwing them away, try this for a different type of breakfast. So as you can see, I've literally just filled the whole tub up with the yogurt, some fruit and the grape nuts. I did weigh out 40 grams of grape nuts, but I didn't need that many. I only ended up using 20 grams. So I've put the other lot back, so that means I've only used half of my healthy extra for breakfast. So that means I could maybe have like a slice of toast or a piece of bread or a hi-fi bar later in the day. But yeah, this is a really good breakfast. I find it so filling. I have this and then it keeps me going until lunch. And if you're like working from home, or if you've still got to go to the office or whatever, it's a really good, yeah, if you're like working from home, or if you are still in the office, or like going out to work, it's a really good breakfast to have like on the go. I used to, when I worked in the office, I used to have it like every single like Monday, because I find on a Monday I wanted a bit extra in bed, so I didn't really want to get up that little bit earlier and like faff around in the kitchen making breakfast. So I always used to take this to work on a Monday. I haven't had it in ages, so yeah, so when I had this empty jar earlier, I was about to throw it out, and then I thought I'd make this for breakfast. But yeah, I definitely recommend it. So in total with the yogurt, because that yogurt's half a sin, this will be a 2.5 sin breakfast that I'm counting, like just to be safe with the extra bit of spread that's in the jar. But yeah. So yeah, so I literally just pop the lid back on it, and then I will leave that in the fridge overnight, and then when I have it in the morning, the grape nuts will have gone a bit softer. So yeah, but yeah, literally, you don't have to leave it in the fridge overnight, but I just prefer to do that because then they go softer, and that's how I... Morning guys, so I'm doing my what I eat in a day today. I obviously prepped my breakfast last night, which I showed you how I done it. I've just started eating it now, so I just thought I'd show you what it looks like once it's all set and ready to eat. I'm also just going to have it with an apple, because I'm really hungry today. Normally I would just eat that, but yeah, so I just thought I'd have an apple as well, and I've got a coffee too. So it's like the grape nuts go really soft, and then all the flavours just mix in together. It's honestly so nice. I quite often do it with an empty Biscoff jar, but I actually think I prefer this jar empty. It's really, really nice. But yeah, I would definitely recommend this one for a quick on-the-go breakfast. So I do know this is a really random lunch, but I hate wasting food, and we had loads of veg which needed using up for our roast dinner yesterday, so I just thought I'd cook it all so then I can have some this week. And obviously I am doing meat-free Mondays at the moment, so I'm trying not to eat any meat or anything like that. So I've got some cauliflower cheese here, which I made yesterday for our roast. That works out at 1 healthy extra A per portion, plus 1.5 sins. I've got some roasted carrots, some red cabbage, and some broccoli and green beans. And I also had some sin-free gravy left over, which I just poured all over it. So yeah, it's a bit random, but I really enjoy this, and I hate wasting food, so I would much rather just have something like this for lunch than make something else just for the sake of it. So for those of you that don't follow me on Instagram, you wouldn't have seen that I updated on there last week that I've hit my target with Slimming World now. So my target was to lose 5 stone, and I hit that last week. I believe I lost 2.5 pounds, which took me ½ pound below my target weight. As a target member, you're allowed like an extra healthy bee, a few extra sins here and there. But I didn't really do anything different except for having a few extra sins on Saturday, and I lost ½ pound this week, so I'm now 1 pound below my target weight, so still perfectly fine, still within target. So for today's dinner, obviously it's going to be a meat-free Monday dinner, and I am making a teriyaki tofu. I've had the tofu in the freezer because I read online that if you slice it and then freeze it before you use it, it has a bit more of a meaty texture. So I've taken that out of the freezer earlier today to sort of let it defrost, and then it looks like this. So literally these are just the slices of tofu. So I'm going to squeeze the liquid out of them in a minute. You have to be really careful because they're quite like soft and they sort of like crumble easily. So yeah, so I'm just gonna drain the liquid out of those and then sprinkle some corn flour on them and a little bit of salt and pepper. And then I will just cook them in a frying pan for about 3 to 4 minutes each side before adding over the sauce. So yeah, for the sauce, I've got 2 tablespoons of teriyaki. That's 5 sins. So for the whole sauce, it'll be like 2.5 sins per person. I've got 1 tablespoon of the rice wine, 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, and 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. So I literally just leave that to one side. And then once I've cooked the tofu, I will add the sauce ingredients to the pan and just let it like bubble away until it goes nice and sticky. So I've just got a frying pan nice and hot, and I'm literally just going to add in my pieces of tofu and cook it for about 3 minutes on each side. I'm also doing mine with some stir-fried veg, and I've got my rice in there, and I'm going to make egg fried rice. I have uploaded a step-by-step of that before, and there's recipes for that on my Instagram page, which I will include in the caption. So the tofu has cooked on both sides now, so I'm literally just going to pour over the sauce and just leave this to bubble away in the pan. And the tofu will absorb the sauce as it sort of like bubbles away and goes all sticky. And this is what the tofu looks like when it's done. I've also just sprinkled some sesame seeds in there, and then I'm going to slice it before serving it on top of some rice and veggies. And this is what it looks like all sliced up. So it actually does look really quite like chicken. So yeah, so I'm just going to add that on top of my rice and veg, and we're good to go. And that is the finished product. One for me and one for Daniel.